Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry for the long delay. I've been really engrossed in Baldur's Gate 3, Armor Core 6, and Sea of Stars, so I've just been playing those games and figured I'd have FF16 gameplay in the background since they just released a new patch where you can change your costumes. Woohoo! So this is more of a listening kind of video. You don't really have to watch the gameplay. This is up to you if you want to see like what the costumes look like in the cutscenes that I'm going to show here in the first half of the video. I have it broken up into two parts. I actually wanted the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I wanted to talk about game length, and I wanted to do this in like two parts. So I wanted to talk about like game length in terms of like reviews and stuff, and then I wanted to talk about like game length in general. Um, this felt like a really good game to do that, to kind of have in the background to give an example of. I'll give some other examples too later on in the video, but like the reason why I wanted to do this video in the first place was because Starfield just came out. Well, the early access bit of it. I guess if you paid for the premium edition or whatever the $100 edition was, you can play it now when the game actually comes out on September 6th. And then right now it's the 4th, I believe. Yeah, no, it's the 3rd, sorry. It's September 3rd right now. So the game's 3 days away as of the making of this commentary. But anyways, I've seen some people, it's kind of like the reviews have been, good. There's been some good reviews. Some have given it like it's an alright game. I haven't seen too many. Some have said they didn't like it. I haven't seen too many of those. But there was one particular tweet that I saw that that really wanted to like, that really kind of sparked this video idea. Was from Angry Joe, and he basically said that like 6 hours into the game of Starfield, he says he's kind of disappointed. Doesn't say anything more than that. He just says that like so far he's disappointed. I'm pretty sure he's going to continue playing the game. Maybe it'll get better in time, because a lot of people have said, and one particular person in the comments did actually say that. They said that like you need to keep playing for like 20 hours before the game gets like really good. And then like when I saw that, I was floored. I was like, 20 hours? That's a lot of time to ask to put in a game before it gets good. Kind of like when those people ask you to like watch 10 episodes before the anime gets good. And you're like, no. That's kind of ridiculous. That's 9 episodes I have to watch. That's like, I'm pretty bad at math, so I can't give you like an absolute figure off the top of my head. But that's quite a few hours that you got to put into an anime before it gets good, and you don't even know if it's even going to get good, as this person says. You may not think the same way as this person does. So I'm like, that's a lot of time to be putting into it. I think 6 hours is definitely a good line where you can find out whether or not you're going to enjoy a game or not, or whether or not you should put it away, or if you're still interested, continue playing. But it seems like a lot of people are still interested. Like they put in time, and they're like, well, I kind of want to see what happens. Maybe it'll get better, And then some other people are just going to be like, nah, dude, it's not for me, and put it away. Or they'll go on Twitter and trash talk the game because console wars, We're a fight over a plastic box. It's united the every new game, every console exclusive ignites that, console wars. But that can be a different video. I don't want to get into that. I can make that its own different video. I can talk about console wars and how stupid they are. Because like I don't own an Xbox. I have a PS5, I got a PC, I've got a Nintendo Switch. I do not own an Xbox. But I'm definitely not one of those Sony ponies, as people call us. I'm not like ride or die for Sony. I'm not ride or die for anybody. I want to play good games. I don't care where they are. Starfield's not really a game that I'm interested in. I'm not really too interested in Bethesda games, honestly. That's how I've always been. I've tried them, but they never like suck me in. I play for like 5 or 6 hours, and then that's pretty much it. They don't suck me in. I guess there's just something about them that just doesn't resonate with me. It's not my kind of thing, I guess. but I don't knock anybody who likes Starfield. I don't like anybody, you know, I'm not gonna knock anybody like if they think it's their game of the year or anything like that. If it's your game of the year, if it's a game you really love, that's fantastic. I'm glad Xbox finally has a game for your system that you can be like proud of, you know. You're like, well, aside from Hi-Fi Rush that came out earlier this year. But like, yeah, it's really cool that you guys have a console exclusive that you can be proud of, you know. And that's always something I'm gonna celebrate. Even though console exclusives I feel like shouldn't be a thing, but that's a completely different topic as well. I'm getting sidetracked here. But anyways, I mostly just wanted to talk about like, cause you've seen how like people give reviews. You see sometimes that like some person hasn't played too many hours into a game and then they give a poor review of it, and a lot of people are like, you didn't even play the game enough, so blah blah blah, you know. Like somebody played for like three hours, you know, and then like they give their opinion, they say that they didn't really like the game, and then other people are like, well, you didn't put enough time in it, you know. And it's like, I can understand why you feel that way, you know, because like you enjoy the game, but not everybody else is going to. And so I've always felt like 6 to 10 hours is always like a good point, depending on the game. Usually like RPGs, you can probably squeeze it out to 10, maybe. And then like shorter games, like say Resident Evil, you can probably judge whether or not you're going to like those within like the first couple hours, you know. Because Resident Evil games aren't typically that long. They're usually like 10 hours at most. 10, 15 hours, I guess, depending on how much time you take, or you know, like how you play the game, you know. Like your first playthrough, and then generally afterwards you can beat them in like 2 to 3 hours. Maybe even less if you're a speedrunner. But I'm not. I do speedrun stuff in Resident Evil games, but I can beat them in like 2 hours. So they're more like replay games. But like, yeah, there's a lot of RPGs out there. They're like, you know, 30, 50 hours. And I'll get to that portion of the topic here shortly. I just like, I don't know. I can't fathom putting 20 hours into a game in order for it to be good. Like, to me, that's just too much. That's too much time. Because a lot of people don't even have that much time to begin with to game. And to ask them to put 20 hours into the game before it gets good, I don't know. That's a hard sell, man. If that's true. You know, if that's even true. I don't know anything about Starfield. I know that it's a first-person game that has third-person elements that you can put in it. I know that you can explore planets like in No Man's Sky. I know it has like the Bethesda dialogue options that you can choose. You can mold your character however you want. You know, I like those kinds of games. I played Baldur's Gate, of course, and I love Mass Effect. So I love those kinds of games. I like being able to do dialogue choices and create your character and do an actual role play, you know. But like, it's always the gameplay aspects that don't really grip me in Bethesda games. Although, you know, I've heard that Starfield's combat is pretty good, you know, at least first person wise. The third person is kind of still jank, you know. Like, it's in there, but like the third person combat's not that good. But yeah, all in all, like, I feel like it's like, in conclusion, just like to end this topic off before we get to the next one, which I'll probably end up spending a lot more time in. Like 6 hours in it, dude. If you're not feeling the game, drop it. You know? Like, if it's not gripping you 6 to 10 hours in, especially if it's an RPG, like an RPG, you might give it a little bit more time, you know? Because sometimes they like to world build. You know, I can name plenty of games that sucked me in right away. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of them. Baldur's Gate 3 is my game of the year. I'm going to talk about that game in great length, I hope. I'm playing it on PC, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to get it some editing software so I can upload to YouTube anyways. But yeah, you know, that game gripped me right away, you know. Final Fantasy 16, this game had me hooked in like the first hour, you know. I can name some other games, but we'll be here forever, you know. These are just ones off the top of my head. Like, oh, Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, hooked me in the reactor, you know. Like, some games will get you right off the hook, or right off the bat, and then others take just a little bit of time. You know, not too much time, because you know, like if the story's not gripping you like after a certain amount of time, yeah, I feel like it's just yeah, put it down and move on. Play the next game. You know, it's all right. It's totally okay. And considering Starfield's on Game Pass, so if you got Game Pass, download the game. You can try it for free, basically. Here, look, an Xbox advertisement in my on a PS or on a PlayStation 5 exclusive game. But anyways, yeah, that's just all I really want to say. Like that's what sparked this whole thing. I had a lot more to say about it, but I think I stood on my soapbox too long without making the video, and I didn't make the video, so now I just forgot everything I was saying. The moment's passed. So mostly what I wanted to say is like enjoy what you enjoy, you know, like yeah, play what you want to play, love what you love, dislike what you dislike, you know, offer criticism where it's due, you know. But like don't tell someone that it's like don't tell someone you have to play this many hours before they're going to enjoy the game, because you don't know if they're going to or not. You know what I mean? If like if someone's not enjoying it, they don't enjoy it. You know? That's all I really gotta say about that. So then I'm just gonna immediately segue into the next bit of this topic, which is game length, which is something that gets talked about quite often. When a game comes out, how long is the game? You know, and you know, you hear it a lot that some people say that like, oh, the game is not worth $70 because it's not this long. You know what I mean? What's an example? What is an example of a game where some people have said that the game wasn't that long, so it wasn't worth $60? I guess you could say Blasphemous 2. That's the most recent game that came out, but I haven't really heard anybody complain about the length. No, actually someone did, I believe. They said it was like 10-15 hours or something like that. It's a relatively short game, but it's quality, you know? It's a quality game. And I'm pretty damn sure that someone was complaining about that. They said that like, oh, it was only 10-15 hours. The game wasn't worth this much money. But I'm pretty sure it's not Blasphemous 2. It's got to be something else. Oh, was it Armored Core? Was it Armored Core that someone said that like the length of the game? Yes, it was. It was Armored Core 6. Someone said that the game was only like 10 to 15 hours, so it wasn't worth $60. And clearly they didn't play New Game Plus, which is what I'm on right now. I did New Game, there's New Game Plus, and there's New Game Plus Plus. And there's 3 different endings. So there's a whole reason to continue playing the game. I'm still unlocking stuff in New Game Plus. So clearly this person played it once, said it was like 10 to 15 hours, and complaining that he didn't get his money's worth out of it. And it's like, have you played an Armored Core game before? Because I played an Armored Core game before. I played them back on the PS2. Spent tons of time in the hangar building your mech to go to the arena and get your ass blown up. That's what happened to me when I was a kid. Or you would replay missions to earn money to basically buy the parts to build a new build, to get a new build for a new AC. You know, this person clearly has not played an Armored Core game before. You spend a lot more time in the hangar than you do actually playing the game. Building builds, getting parts. You replay missions to get money to... That's the whole gameplay loop. The whole gameplay loop is to get money to build... To earn money to buy new parts to build new mechs. Yeah. It's mind-blowing. Then they say you're not getting your money's worth out of the game. I don't know. It's crazy. Like, it's almost like people only think about playing these games like once or something like that. So that also, so you saw Final Fantasy 16 gameplay, and I'm going to use this as a spectrum. So the game was like what, 40, I think it was like 50 hours? Was it? I think it was like 40 hours altogether when I finished beating it the first time, if I remember right. And that's actually a game where I would have said if you just gave me 30 quality hours, just straight up 30, you just cut out like 10 hours of it, and you just mostly cut out all like the filler shit. You know what I mean? Like the filler missions that you did. For those you know, right? If you know, you know. Cut out all that stuff and just made the game like just a straight up 30-hour long, like just this giant just like absolute. It was a roller coaster ride, as they said. The developers said the game's a roller coaster, but you know, you cut out all that filler and you really just keep that thing on this like steady like upswing, you know, that just keeps going and just keeps delivering until you finish it 30 hours in, you know. That would have been ideal for me. So that's one of those times where I would said that like I wish the game was shorter, you know, instead of longer. And Final Fantasy VII was like 30 hours, but there was actually some parts of the game that kind of dragged. The return to the sewers, oh, terrible part of the game. Like that part didn't even need to be in there. Honestly, they could have took that out and it would have been so much better. Like, see, like that would have, but also at the same time, like Final Fantasy VII was a quality game for the most part. You know what I mean? For the whole way through, you got a really good. It was really well paced up until you got to like that sewers part. There was some parts that were pretty poorly paced, I will admit, and you know, pretty boring. And you're just like, I want to get out of here. I want to move on. This isn't interesting at all. You know, it was almost like filler. You know. And there's a lot of games like that that just have like this filler in it that isn't really necessary. That like honestly, if a game is like 20 to 30 hours, that's still pretty. And if you give me like a good quality 20, 30 hours, like I'm happy. I'll replay the game again, you know? And like if it's really good, I'll replay that game again. Whereas Baldur's Gate, I put 130 hours in and beat only one campaign. So I put a lot of time into Baldur's Gate. So that's one of those games where you can just sink a ton of time in. But the thing of it is that it's pretty quality up until a certain point, and I'll talk about that when I actually make the Baldur's Gate video. I'll talk about AC too. In more depth in some other videos, but like yeah, like a lot of these people have like this thing where they have like these games have to be like 70, 80, 90, 100 hours in order for them to feel like their money's justified. And I don't know about that, because you can put that much time in the game if the game is good, and you'll just replay the game and you'll end up putting in like 100 hours by itself. Did the same with Resident Evil 4 Remake. That game came out, I put 130 hours into it. Into RE4 Remake, a Resident Evil game, which isn't typically really that long. If you run through the games pretty quickly, you can beat them, and you can beat RE4 in under a couple hours if you're just on the main path. You know, and I put 120 hours into that game. So yeah, like even short games, you can typically put a lot of time in if the content is quality. And that's what I want in a game is quality content, not quantity. Quantity doesn't always mean quality. You know what I mean? That's why I say, like, you can put 20, 30 hours for an RPG, and you can get quite a lot of quality time in there. And then you have side quests in there that you can use to basically pad your time, your game time. But, like, as far as, like, just sticking to the main story, you get 20, 30 hours, maybe 40, depending, you know, and you can really put in some quality time in there. But then you have, like, I would use this RPG as an example, because the Trails of series, Trails of Cold Steel and stuff, I play those like 90 hour long adventures, and it's like, holy crap. And yeah, there are some parts, because you do a lot of companion quests, so it really pads out the time, you know, and stuff. And I think if you really stick with like the main mission stuff, it's probably like 40 hours, you know. There's a lot of side stuff you can do in the games that pad out the time. And that's totally fine. You can put side stuff in your games that you can use to pad out your time, mini games that you can use to basically pad out your play time. But you know, like as far as like for people who just want like a strictly story experience, you can go 20, 30 hours and you'd be good. But yeah, like you know when Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out, and that game was bloated to holy hell, you know? That thing was too big. That like so many people were like, no. That game is way too big. Like it doesn't need to be this big. Why is this game like 100 hours for like I think yeah, what was it? Wasn't it like 70 hours just for the main campaign? And it's like, huh. How are you going to make a 70-hour quality campaign, to be honest? For anybody who's actually finished that game, I never finished it. I can't. It's too big. It's too daunting. It's way too big. So for anybody who's like finished that game, like say, like, was the story actually quality all the way through, or was there a lot of filler in it? You know? Because from what I did, from what I played, what little I played, they did have some missions that were kind of filler. But anyways, yeah, that's a game that suffered from way too much. And that's not good. A game has too much? Yeah, that's weird to say. You can say a video game has way too much time in it, or way too much in it. And you see a lot of these game companies where they try to do that. They try to make these games, these single-player games, almost like live service games in a way. They try to like pad out the gameplay, you know, the game time and stuff, and it just ends up like dragging the experience down. And it's just like, no, don't do that. These games do not need to be 80, 90, 100 hours long, because like I said earlier, you can play the game repeatedly with how like if you make a game that's quality, people are going to want to play it again, you know. I played Final Fantasy VII Remake probably 5+ times, and I played the original game even more than that, probably 10+, like 10+ full casual playthroughs, you know. It's the same with Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game is that fun to me that I can play the game that many times over and still want to continue playing the game. You know? Baldur's Gate 3, I'm going to start a whole new campaign. I cannot wait. You know? I just haven't done it yet. I've been looking at mods and stuff. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Baldur's Gate again. Mass Effect, I've played many times. I've made different characters. Like Knights of the Old Republic, I played many times. Chrono Trigger, I played many times. Xenogears, I played many times. Xenosaga, I played a few times. You know, you get the point. Like if the game is good, people are gonna want to play it again. You know, it's just like they don't need to be these big long epics in order for people to feel like they got their money's worth, you know. Quality content, a lot of people are going to be like, hell yeah, dude, I'm satisfied. Like there's some games I played one time and they were short endeavors and I loved every minute of it. Stray is a good example of that. That game I played for 4 to 5 hours long. I loved every minute of it. You know, loved every single freaking minute of it. It was a great little game, a cute little adventure, you know, and that was all it needed to be. You know, it didn't need to be anything more than that. It's like, and a lot of the times, this stuff comes at the cost of, like, you know, quality of the game. That a lot of stuff gets, you know, the game gets, there's too much added into it that the game doesn't even know what the hell it wants to be. And that's always one of those things where I'm just like, nah, dude. You know what your game is going to be. Play to its strengths, you know? Play to its strengths. And then a lot of people, and that's what gets people, that's what people want to play, to be honest. That's what I see mostly, is that people just want to play games that are quality. You know, they're like, hey, do they respect my time? And that's what I've started to learn is the game going to respect my time? You know, is it going to give me is it going to respect my time? And so I think overall I just like I don't know, I just wanted to go on this big old rant about like game length and what's acceptable for reviews, and I think I'll just kind of end it up here and the discussion here, and I'll spend like the last bit kind of talking about some stuff I wanted to do in the future. So yeah, because like my app, since I was doing Final Fantasy VIII, I released that video about how I become strong in there, and I don't know if I still want to do like the all bosses videos, or if I want to just do like just a video talking about what I liked and didn't like about Final Fantasy VIII. Not necessarily reviews, because I don't really want to do reviews, because I feel like that kind of obscures things. I mostly want to talk about like what I enjoyed about the game, and then like people listen to it, they hear what I have to say, and they're like, oh hey, I kind of like that, sounds interesting, I'll play this game, you know? Even if I'm talking about old games, as I'm getting my ass reamed in by Abzu over here. I jump in a hard mode on a game I haven't played in quite some time, in like several months, and I'm just like, oh yeah, let me play on hard mode and de-rust, and then forget what the controls were. But anyways, but yeah, like, I kind of just want to play the, like, instead of doing like videos on the, like the all bosses, because I feel like a lot of people don't really watch that stuff, you know. I can have gameplay in the background, but I'm just talking about the game, because I think people more like listening to discussions about games, you know, rather, because then they just play them themselves, you know. Just play them yourself, you know. Just listen to a discussion, and you'd be like, hey, this game sounds interesting, I'm gonna go buy it and play it for myself, you know. Maybe that's kind of what I want to do, you know, now, because like, you know, walkthroughs are the thing of the past. But anyways, the video's ending up here. So I've got Baldur's Gate 3, I want to talk about that game. Armored Core 6, I want to talk about that game. Sea of Stars, I want to talk about that game. We got Star Ocean 2 coming out here in the next month or so, and I'm looking forward to that. Super Mario RPG. So yeah, like, a lot of stuff that I want to do, I want to talk about. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me rant here, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.